Hello, everybody. It is your hostess, Madam Hellfire, and we are back once again for another receipt chain of the Cafe and Diner Archives, this time DIS. We start with first three, and then I'll do the other three in another video, just to keep things as tight and tidy as possible. Employee 53 on September 2nd, 1995 says, "Well, someone's keeping busy. I was out last night taking a walk to clear my head when I noticed in the rear view mirror of a nearby car some big, bright, glowing eyes. So it's pretty safe to say we're being watched. If I had to guess, I'd say it was Mrs. Pleasant from the Open Doors Church. Then again, I didn't feel like looking into her eyes to find out. She's a really nasty customer, especially once you lock eyes with her. Not to mention, she has a penchant for the unexpected. Ironically, we need to keep an eye on her too. If she hangs around in an area too long, well, let's just say it'll be a disaster for sure. Oh right, we have newbies with us, huh? I'm sure you've been very diligent cafe workers and already done loads of studying up on our current clientele, but if you're out of the loop, let me just cover the basics of Mrs. Pleasant. Name says it all. She's practically famous in West Virginia. I'm sure you've heard by now, but do not look in her eyes. Easier said than done, as one of her special little tricks is making you think she has more eyes than she actually does. It's usually best just to cover your eyes and get out of there as soon as possible. Of course, I wouldn't recommend running, as Pleasant is more flight than fight and is damn good at that too. Her chosen mode of transport can reach up to 50 miles an hour. So running just wastes your energy. Cover your eyes and get somewhere safe. Well, wait, hang on, Shell. What happens if we look in her eyes? Well, then you get the pleasantry of having her sell you a nasty, thick milkshake. Once you gaze into her eyes, it's all but impossible to refuse the allure of her special frozen treat. A milkshake sounds pretty good. However, I've heard a few sips, and you've got yourself extreme paranoia, fear, nausea, and suicidal thoughts for, a few hours tops. So let's not drink that milkshake, yeah? Heck, we're coffee people anyway. Good news is, she can only really make so many milkshakes at once without having to restock her ingredients, which are only found in Canada. If you can get her to serve you a milkshake but don't drink it, that's the best way to deal with her. Of course, she's still fast, strong, and rather deadly, but without her eye trick, you're more than likely to survive a tango with her. Ah, that reminds me, tango. She doesn't dance, so don't expect anything from her in that regard. Now, Aka, she'll dance, but her dance card is pretty full at the moment. In any case, just keep your eyes out, butt down, for Mrs. Pleasant. She's lurking around Costa Mesa. Not sure she's got her eyes on us or someone else in the area, but that's pretty far from the church. Could just be a right place, right time thing, though, but I'm almost certain she gave me the once over. Might be worth snooping around that area just in case she's up to something more. Like I said, disasters are to be expected. Yikes. I'm not very happy about that whole milkshake thing. I'm like expecting the whole grab your face, pull it open, and just blah in your mouth. Kind of gross. But that's what you would think of since Miss Pleasant is Mothman. And the fly, yeah, not going any further than that. All right, we've got DIS02, which is a passworded receipt. And it says 10 years from 1995, Tom will return. Number 62 trivia, 2 words. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. 62 likes to curl up with science fiction novel or two. Don't burn paper. Who is Tom and why 10 years? No idea. The Martian. The Martian. Sorry, I am not familiar with anything like science fiction book related, so I'm out of luck when it comes to those. All right, number 62 this time on September 8th, 1995 says, Shill was right. Pleasant is on the move in and around Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, and Newport Beach. I figured it'd be a good idea to set up some game cams around the general area where Shill saw Pleasant, and out of the 20 cams I set up, I got 6 hits. 3 in Costa Mesa, 2 in Newport Beach, and 1 hit in Santa Ana. Now, obviously, this is a bit out of the way of the church. I guess when you aren't subject to traffic, it's not that far, but still weird that she's looking around this area. Especially considering, well, actually that coffee might be too hot for the cafe. I'll put it this way. It's interesting that she's flying around here and in that pattern. Doesn't really discount the possibility that she's watching us specifically, does it? Well, we know that Umbra knows our location, and I assume if Umbra knows, then Pleasant knows, and of course, Padre should know too. Maybe it's a scare tactic, a warning. Pleasant sure does love her warnings. Speaking of, that's the other thing I'm worried about. As we all know, Pleasant likes to cause a scene, especially near roads and bridges, and it almost looks like she's sizing up the 405. While she does love a good game of bridge, she doesn't mind a drive either. I think as long as it's a travel path, it's fair game in her big, scary eyes. So where does that really leave us? Well, we need to be ready to stop her if she's going to try and take down a section of the 405, and we also need to be ready to relocate if she is trying to close in on our location. Again, she should already know where we are, but so far, we haven't had any visits from her directly. You know, maybe Trigano is actually keeping her away. I hate this. Too many unknowns. We know that Pleasant is flying way too close to us and way too close to a major highway, and we know she's out of her glamour often. That screams unnecessary risk, and I doubt Padre likes unnecessary risks. Ooh, things are heating up, everybody. Things are heating up. Last one for this particular video is DIS03 from Employee 71 on September 13th, 1995. I saw something interesting in the paper this morning. A column by Peter H. King, The Four Horsemen Unhorsed. He opens with, "Something strange is afoot in California. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to even think about it." King speaks of a strange calm that has claimed the state following the various disasters of prior years. Floods, fires, quakes, the usual calamities. Normally, I'm not one to take much stock in the papers, especially seeing how the sausage is made, but I still can't help but feel this unnatural calm myself. Then it hit me. It isn't just a calm in California, it's downright pleasant. When we think of our lovely customer, Mrs. Pleasant, many remark on her rather off-putting stare, but we often forget her other, shall we say, charm. She brings with her an eerie and unnatural calm before the storm, like a spider injecting venom to soothe its meal. It makes us far too complacent for what is undeniably coming next. Where there is Mrs. Pleasant, there is sure to follow a disaster. Perhaps her midnight walks have served as a way for her to calm the air a bit, but why? What is she planning to order? And can we be the ones to fill it? Or perhaps everything is alright after all. Besides, we have greater things to worry about than Mrs. Pleasant. She is only a Mrs. after all. Perhaps it is all just in my head. There is no common chaos after all. Perhaps we should just relax for once and take a second to actually enjoy the coffee before it goes cold. Cold. Huh. I feel like I'm forgetting something important. And that's where we're gonna stop it. That is a very unsettling place to end off on. And I kind of like the suspense. Got 3 more receipts in this chain, and hopefully we'll see some interesting things happening. Until then, I'll see you next time. Sweet nightmares. I just wanted to take the time to thank my Patreons and channel members. Your support is so appreciated. If you are not a channel member or Patreon and you would like to become one, there's a link in the description below. All channel members and Patreons receive 24 hours early access to all content posted on both of my channels. And all Patreons or channel members of the $10 Hellhound tier can request one horror-related video or stream topic, or one horror-related game that I play on my live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, thank you so much for supporting the channel and the content that I make.